And good evening, everyone. We are live. It's the Fieldhouse Files live post-game show from Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Yes, I am back. First of all, yeah, that's the major news here, right? It's not a fever game, and I am here as the Pacers get it done tonight. A big win here in front of the home crowd, which was tremendous. The home crowd was outstanding in this one, even as we were wrapping up and we were making our way down from the upper level, because that's where a lot of us media are post game. The fans were just cheering throughout. They were cheering in the concourse. They were high-fiving. I didn't get enough video of it, but it was a big celebration for obvious reasons with Pacer fans as they were able to celebrate a win here tonight in spectacular fashion. And to me, the biggest difference not only were they able to get to the paint, but it was the bench points. It was the bench production that they got, starting with Benedict Mathurin, then TJ McConnell in a multitude of fashions. Obi Toppin had some good moments. It was a situation here with what? They gave up 18 points total off the bench for OKC. It was a completely flipped scenario between the two teams. Glad you all jumped on here and joined me here on the live post-game show. Let me catch up and get to everybody's comments, because I know a lot of you probably have some questions, concerns, and thoughts following tonight's big Pacers win. 116-107. They got over that 110-point threshold, which has been a significant one for this Pacers team, for them to come out on top. Just Jules, Pacers in 5. It could be. OKC's going to make it incredibly difficult, though. We know that. I said all along, I figured Thunder probably in 6, but right now it could still go that way. But the Pacers played a much better game. And that's what I was expecting too, because not only did they have this home crowd behind them, but they were due. This was a Pacers team that had not played very good basketball through the first 2 games. They had led for just a minute and 53 seconds. And so ultimately, they were able to get that much better performance in this one. Contributions from all over. You had nearly a triple-double from Tyrese Halliburton. You had Pascal do what Pascal does. And also post-game, we learned that Miles Turner's one of those individuals on the team that's going through it. That's a little bit under the weather. So Rick Carlisle said they may not even have him come here to practice, and media obligations coming up on Thursday, which continue around noon or so. I will be back here to cover all that, but he's one of those that's under the weather, so you could see him huffing and puffing a little bit. And by the way, while we're talking about that, the Thunder were exhausted in many respects from that. We saw them show so many different bodies at SGA, and they did the best job that they have in containing him. He ended up with 24 points in this one, 9 of 20 from the field, 8 rebounds. But it was a game that he didn't take those 30 shots. He likes that 20 number while also getting others involved, and he finished with 4 assists in this one. But it was a scenario where Pacers got off to a poor start once again. They've been outscored in the opening stanzas of their first 3 games here. But what a difference the bench made there in that second frame, ultimately. That's what it was. It was interesting to me, too, because Mathurin was one of the 4 reserves who did not get in during that first quarter. He started the second quarter, and things completely switched and did just such a good job in a multitude of fashions. But number one, getting to the paint, attacking, being a bulldog in there like we know he can be. The other thing is getting to the free throw line. He was 7 for 8, better than anyone on this team. Second, Pascal Siakam at getting to the free throw line. So he delivered in that aspect. And then again, I thought he was a different body that they were able to show out defensively and provide some help on that end. Yeah, Indy Hawk, TJ and Ben were huge. You're absolutely right. It was a team effort. And that was the big message from Rick Carlisle post-game that he was emphasizing, is as much as you want to emphasize, or you want to highlight, right? Whether it's Mathurin, whether it's Halliburton, whether it's TJ McConnell, he got back to what this team is about, and that's team, the we over me. And that's what helped the Pacers get the victory to take a 2-1 series lead. They still have never trailed in this series. All they've done is now maintain their home court advantage. Even if they lose coming up in Game 4 on Friday, they've handled their own there, and you go back, and then it becomes a best of 3. But there's no reason necessarily to believe that the Pacers can't come back and get Game 4 as well. You're going to have a worn-down Thunder team. They do have that depth, and their bench is going to be better coming up in Game 4. But there's a quicker turnaround. This is the one time when there is not 2 days between games, just one. So tomorrow, I'm sure, will just be a film session, some shooting, And then outside of that, just be about the reserves getting some on-court time and contributions, because otherwise they don't really need much, especially those starters and such. PJs is excited. Dunham Life, Miles Turner block party. Yeah, that was especially notable given the fact what he was able to contribute despite being under the weather. And by the way, after getting 2 blocks early on in the game, he passed Jermaine O'Neal for the franchise's all-time playoff record with blocks. I think it was 121, and then later on he added 3 more to end up with 5 block shots in this one. So you had Miles Turner's interior defense with 5. You had TJ McConnell on the perimeter getting the defensive stops. But how about him getting what Denary likes to joke is the McConnell, this inbounds steal. He got 3 of them tonight, and they scored off of those, and those provided them such with that energy boost that they needed. And obviously he gets into it with the crowd in a good way, excites them. And Tyrese was joking post-game that they call him the Great White Hope. They also do that with Johnny Furphy as well. But Pacers were able to get the win tonight, 107 rather. Good win, finally a good game together, Basil says. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Miles Indy Hawk needs to get some rest, because given that he's under the weather, probably not sleeping well. They weren't in their own beds for the last week. Now they are. And so I think they're going to utilize that to their as best as they can, headed in with less than 48 hours before game 4. Let's see. Jency, appreciate you jumping on here. Yep. I will definitely have a great show. Even though it's a late one, almost 1 a.m. local time, there's no way I was not going live after this one. I've done one after every single game. So you got to keep the string ongoing, even though it is absolutely a late one. We didn't get done with interviews till about 12:30. Talked with Rick Carlisle, Ben Mathurin, Tyrese, and Pascal. So all those will be here on my YouTube page, as well as at fieldhousefiles.com for you to watch. It's a lot of content. I know there's a great thirst for it absolutely right now after they took the 2-1 series lead. Yeah, PJs, you're right. It will be magical for the Pacers if they can go up 3-1 for sure. The fact that you just don't see many teams come back from that 3-1 deficit. We certainly have seen it in recent history in the last 5 years, but you just don't see it very often. It's so much to overcome. And so that will be the priority for this Pacers team coming up in game 4. The crowd was awesome tonight. Yeah, it really was. But that we fully expected. We know what this Pacer fan base is about. We know what the Thunder fan base and how special they are. That's the thing that makes this series, I think, so special, is it's 2 smaller markets. It's 2 basketball-craved states. It's cities that can really thrive off of that. So it's just fantastic. 3 digits. Appreciate it. Thanks for the contribution there. Shout out to you. Let me know if you have any questions on here as we continue our live post-game show from Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Again, it was just remarkable to see the crowd pour out in celebration. And I almost wanted to remind them, hey, it's a Wednesday night, because it certainly felt like a Friday night that they were going into the weekend. The way they reacted and were celebrating and probably drinking and having a great time. But many of them have work tomorrow. I think it's not going to be a productive day for many businesses in central Indiana, given the way in which all the employees probably were out here having a great time. Bench was very key tonight. Shep, Mathurin, McConnell. Yeah, you can go on down that line. You started, obviously, Mathurin. His ability to get inside the paint and be one of those individuals to produce from there, and obviously getting to the free throw line and making 7 of his 8 free throw attempts, that was significant. Then you go even more than that, and defensively, what he was able to do. And then TJ McConnell, obviously. This leaned into the Pacers storyline and what they are about and what this team is built to do. Pascal was joking post-game. Look, they don't care if they have a 20-point score. They care if they get wins and can stack wins. And by the way, this is an incredible feat for the Pacers that they still have not lost consecutive games since March 10th. It's been essentially 3 full months since they've lost 2 in a row. And it's incredibly handy here going forward, because if you can win 1 more, then you're in a good spot if you continue that streak alive. Lindy, yes, I was doing post-game interviews, like I said, so you'll be able to watch those here on my YouTube page and at fieldhousefiles.com. All those coming up. I'll post these after this, but absolutely, Lindy, it's a late night tonight. Pacers played really well. Not perfect, Did not have a great first quarter, was outscored 32-24. Also did not finish that third quarter strong. I think it was a 6-0 run by the Thunder over the final minute. And then the Pacers held the Thunder to 18 fourth quarter points. Let me go see what the numbers are on that. Thunder in the fourth quarter, 6 of 17 shooting, failed to make a three-pointer. That's relevant because it's the same type of scenario that happened in game one where the Pacers completed that comeback. They went 6 of 10. I think the Thunder missed all their threes or just did not shoot it well from distance in that game one. So it kind of repeated itself. Meanwhile, Pacers shot 62% in that fourth quarter, made 3 of 5 from 3, and they did a better job of handling the ball, did not turn it over as much as we have seen in this series. It was just 14 for them. You can absolutely live off that. And on top of that, only gave up 14 points from that. Meanwhile, on the other side, it was OKC turning it over 19 times, resulting in 21 points for the Pacers. So again, that's another check mark there for the Pacers. Hey, Mr. Compton, thanks for hanging in. I know it's a late one. You said, let's get the show on the road. I get it. I want to get it started as much as you. I know it's going to be a late one here for me tonight, probably a 5 a.m. night, given how much more I need to do. I still got to post my At the Buzzers column as well as the post-game videos, and then get to my post-game story as well. Indy Hawk says Pacers need to be doing MJ and step on the throats and win the next one. It'd go a long way for sure, but much like the Pacers don't lose back-to-back games, the Thunder are the same way. I think they're 5-0 this postseason, if I remember right, playing off of a loss, and so they're going to come in with that confidence, that mentality. Hey, let's make it 6-0 for good reason. Miles apparently sick. Yeah, absolutely. Miles is definitely sick, under the weather, not feeling so hot. And I think the biggest thing that Rick highlighted was before that fourth quarter, Miles took a moment to himself, much like he does before the game and before the second half, to take some deep breaths, center himself, something he added to his regimen several years ago, and then was able to provide there in the fourth quarter, getting the most memorable thing for Miles among those 5 blocks were those 2 in a row with Chet Holmgren, right? He got the first one on the three-point shot, then another one there on the interior when they were up about 5 there with 3 minutes to go is what it felt like. And ultimately they were able to hang on. And that was one of the big differences, right, in this one, was they were not coming back from a 15-point hole. They weren't coming back from a fourth quarter deficit that was double digits. They never trailed, in fact, by double digits. Pacers never led by double digits. It was a game that featured 15 ties, 9 lead changes. This was the NBA Finals matchup and experience, I think, that so many of us were expecting. And you just expected a little bit more, I would say, from SGA individually and from the Thunder standpoint, their bench. Caruso, just 8 points. He had 20 last game. Aaron Wiggins made 5 threes last game, 0 for 2 from the field, did not score. Those contrasts are just so significant. And obviously in this one, tilted in the Pacers' favor. Dang, a lot of you doubted me. Music fan, Lindy, Mr. Compton, that I would ever come on here. Don't blame me. We're sitting around waiting on those post-game interviews and such. But we are here and absolutely doing this. Ryan, I appreciate the good thoughts. Yeah, it was special. I had a couple people ask me, dude, how long has it been since I've been here? And actually, you got to go back to talking about Pacers or NBA. You got to go back to NBA All-Star Weekend. That's where things kind of significantly changed for me and a great deal, and I still don't know why. But this is my first Pacers game in more than a year covering in person. It was fantastic. So good to see all my security people, all my team personnel. And the other thing here is there were so many, I can't believe it's taken me 15 minutes to get into this. It was so fantastic to see the number of former Pacers in attendance, one of which I was really able to talk to for quite a while pregame, and that was Darren Collison. I recorded part of it for an interview that I will post at fieldhousefiles.com. This is his second time back throughout the playoffs. He came last series against the New York Knicks with his buddy. I think he was with his kid the last time, and was just able to soak in the moment and see this team and see this group and what they were able to accomplish. And among the things he highlighted was Miles Turner and what Miles was, his longevity with this franchise, his commitment to this team, and on top of that, what he's able to contribute on the court as well. Yes, Just Jules, I did. Got my MBA credentials. That's why I'm all good. It's done by MBA and not by the team standpoint. Basil, Caitlin in the house today. She's still undefeated. Yes, according to my unofficial tally, the Pacers are now 8-0 when Caitlin's in the building, and she was sitting courtside. She rotated who sat with her. I thought was funny. It was Aaliyah Boston, Natasha Howard in the first half. Second half that I saw was Lexi Hall as well as Natasha Howard for those sitting in the courtside right next to her. In that bunch was minority owner Stephen Rails. A little bit further of note, John Halliburton sitting back courtside once again. He was not up in the suite. He was allowed to be right there courtside and enjoy this moment. And maybe that's why Tyrese had another spectacular game. His dad was right in that usual spot because remember his first game back in the building, Ty finished with that triple-double and when the Pacers were able to defeat the New York Knicks, I think it was, right? All right, what else do we got? I appreciate so many of you, more than 50 of you staying up with me for this late night. There you are, Mr. Compton. If OKC wanted to get extra shots up after the game or late night, would the Pacers facilities allow it? I don't think the Pacers practice court's open. I'm guessing they hosted an event out there. They probably, I don't know, try to work it out with the YMCA. I doubt there's any court availability. But that said, they're going to be back here in less than 12 hours for their own practice and such. So I doubt any guys will necessarily want to get some shots up here. But this court also not available because there's so many of us media here post-game running our own thing. And I mean, there's an NBA TV set, an ESPN set, so many others, including myself. Although I will say at this point, I'm probably one of about 10 here remaining at the Fieldhouse on court. Yeah, hopefully Miles will be ready. Absolutely. He'll do whatever is necessary to be available in game 4. Just how effective can he be, and something to take into consideration heading into all of that. Let's see. Geos, any update on Tyrese's leg? Nothing new to report there. Obviously, it's something he's dealing with. Is looking like in his Achilles down to his ankle area, but I mean, he played 37 minutes tonight, nearly had a triple-double, just one rebound shy of that. To me, that while the 22 points is nice, the thing that stands out to me is the 11 assists. He had almost half their assists, 24 of 44. The Pacers were able to assist on that one. And given the way this team is structured and how they are set up, that tells us right away that the Pacers probably had some great success here. Kimono, welcome. Good to see you as always. Just Jules, appreciate the shout out. And I just answered that about Tyrese as well. Yeah, Reggie Miller in the house. He was sitting courtside with his son. The rest of his family was here as well. He was sitting next to the Big O, Oscar Robertson, who's obviously from right here in central Indiana. But about a dozen former Pacers were in the house, of which I'll list them all at my At the Buzzer column at Fieldhouse Files, which certainly will not be at the buzzer. I can't really do those when I'm in-house covering these games, even though I love the name and the purpose behind each of those stories. Kimono, though, says, I think whoever wins game 4 wins the series. Pacers must protect home court. Yeah, I think I go along with that thinking, because if the Pacers go back to Oklahoma City Sunday and it's 2-2, you got 2 of the final 3 games in OKC, and this Thunder team will be rejuvenated and ready to go following if they could get that game 4 win. On the other side of that, it goes along the same lines of what I just addressed, 10 minutes ago, in terms of they'd go up 3-1. You don't see teams often come back from that. I think teams that are up 2-1 in a series win the series about 80% of the time. So already the numbers continue to favor the Pacers. And it's still remarkable that while they've trailed for most of the series, they still haven't trailed within the concept of the series. They've trailed throughout almost much of the games, just not the series. I saw CJ Miles. Yeah, CJ was behind Caitlin Clark and that group courtside. This is a sign of things to come for Mathurin. He's on a 5-year journey to turning himself into a SGA. I think they're very different players. I do. The thing with Mathurin is you just want to see that consistency, right? I think it was the first couple of games of the conference finals, didn't really do much, didn't seem as engaged, and you wondered when you were going to see more from him. Then he has back-to-back 20-point performances when we're gushing and pouring over him and what he was able to do there. So a complete 180 in terms of Mathurin and where he can contribute. And it's funny, I was talking with a couple people, one certainly notable pregame courtside here, and they were like, hey, look out for Mathurin. Look out for Ben. Tonight's his night. And my goodness, that individual who knows Ben very well absolutely called it, absolutely predicted that one. And so Mathurin tonight off the bench. Notable, he did not play in that first quarter. came off the bench in the second quarter and was phenomenal. I think he had like 14 points in the first 8 minutes or so there, and then ending the game with 27 points, 4 rebounds, 9 of 12 shooting, even knocked down 2 of his 3 3-pointers. So he did a little bit of everything, and that's the player the Pacers expect him to turn into. And to me, you guys that have been here for a while know what I've always talked about. I think from a championship, they're one big player away, and it could be through a trade. It could be internally. Well, when Mathurin plays like this is exactly what I'm talking about. That's the internal growth, a player from within elevating their game, and here you go. The Pacers win that one. When Mathurin outscores the entire OKC bench by himself, 27-18, that's exactly what I'm talking about here. DMB, appreciate you doing this. Hopefully this changes some things for me moving forward. I sure hope so. We shall see. I know majority of people welcomed me and treated me just as normal. And by the way, we have Fever back here coming up, practice Thursday afternoon, and then the Fever Liberty Saturday afternoon in a game that's also on ABC. So a lot of ABC broadcast originating from right here in Indianapolis probably helps and makes it easier on the crew. They don't have to change a ton out. They already have wires and cameras and all that in place for this series alone. I didn't know Collison was there. Who else? They didn't show everyone on TV. They didn't. Gotcha. Let me pull up part of my list here for my post game. Reggie Miller, Mark Jackson, Collison, CJ Miles, Ron Artest, Lance Stevenson. I feel like I'm forgetting a couple more there, but there was about a dozen or so is what they were expecting. It was very funny to see Lance and Ron Artest hanging out together, just given their big personalities and ferociousness and their competitive nature as well. Yeah, good for Pops. Absolutely. Why not? You got to forgive and get back. He obviously needed to serve a penalty, but now what the hell? Let him come back, and they have. And it more than anything, I'm just glad that he's welcome back in the arena and able to be there with his son. I don't care where it is, whether it's a suite, a balcony, or courtside. That doesn't matter as much as it is for him to be there for his family member, his son, someone where he's there every single game. And so the rest doesn't much matter. It's all in the details. Chris, yep, you're welcome. Appreciate you jumping on and joining me here for sure. Candy, appreciate that. You're very welcome for the hard work, energy, and time. I just know after this series, I'm very much looking forward to some deep sleep and some consistent time to myself, because I feel like I've just been nonstop, constantly on the go, and with my schedule dictated by the series and the practice schedule and the game times and the late nights. Late nights don't bother me. It's those early mornings that are killer to me. Quack and Bubbles, fantastic name there. Do I know what's going on with Pacers' health? Miles is sick. Ty is limping. Andrew's sick. He was coughing. I think it's a situation here where there's, first of all, a lot of people are getting that summer cold, I've noticed. On top of that, you're slapping hands all the time, so you're sharing things. Then to add to it, you're on the road and you're out of your comfort zone. You're out of your medicines and routines and all those sort of things. So I think that's what the situation is. Nothing big, huge concern, but obviously they got to take care of themselves. Music fan asking Jarris Walker's status. Any chance he might be available? Look, do not plan on Jarris Walker. It was nice to see him today walking around without a crutch. He's been on kind of a one crutch over the last few days. Before that was crutches, but it was a nasty, probably a grade 2 right ankle sprain. And so I would not expect him back at all. Look, he's not practicing. I'm not sure he can even get shots up right now. So for you to expect much from him for even in a week, I think that's a pipe dream. I do not expect that, especially at this level, playing this pace against the best team in the league all season. Do not count on it. Christmas Addicts in the Big O. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Any chance I'll be covering Fever practice tomorrow? Yep, that's the plan. As long as Pacers and Thunder media availability does not go long, I will be at Pacers practice and Fever practice coming up tomorrow. Unsure if Dan was here, Just Jules. What else here? If you have any more comments, questions, submit them now, or I won't get to them. It's already a late night, and I know many of you probably want to get to bed here. Liked Reggie Miller wearing a Mark Jackson jersey. I agree. Absolutely. When it would kind of been a little bit weird to wear your own jersey, but his son was wearing a Reggie Miller t-shirt. And then Mark Jackson was up in a suite enjoying the game further away. It frustrates me like crazy that he has not gotten a second opportunity. There might be something that I just don't know in that situation, but I believe all these guys deserve a second chance. The situation there in Oakland with the Warriors, very unique, and they didn't start taking off until Steph got healthy, Clay got there, and Draymond and them got in a roll. And certainly Mark played a big role in that. But it was great to see him courtside a little bit. Cool, but also awkward when the broadcast showed him, given that they had fired him, which I still don't understand. You should still have that crew of Jeff and Mark there internally. But definitely cool to see Mark, along with so many of those Pacers alums that were back here, about a dozen of them, and all credit to Karen Atkinson and player relations and what they were able to do. It's something they made a point to do here. And that was one of the things Darren Collison talked with me about, is that they make him feel appreciated. They send him a care package before each season. They check in with him. They'll wish him public happy birthdays and things like that. Kimono, Mathurin's just 22 and need to be patient. He's still learning on the job. Absolutely. And remember, last year's season was such a disrupted one that he needed that labrum surgery in March. So he missed the back half of the season. He missed the whole postseason run to the Eastern Conference Finals. This is his first time tasting all of this. And I got to believe that as much as he loves being out there and playing basketball, it probably killed him even more to not being able to play and be out there for his teammates as well. There's the basketball standpoint and then the life and team aspect. And you just have this helpless feeling, I'm sure he did last year at this time, when all he could do was rehab, and that mostly entailed taking it easy and being off his feet and resting up that and getting into rehab for his shoulder. But now he is absolutely making a difference and was the star of this one, in addition to Halliburton, I would throw out there. Ron was such an underrated player, much better as Ron than whatever variation. Yeah, I'm not sure which one. I think we're on Meta World Peace, but it might be like Panda World Peace at this point. I lose count, so I just go back to Ron Artest, which is what he was here when the Pacers brought him to Indianapolis. Watching from Sacramento. Wow. Appreciate that, Joseph. Thanks for tuning in here. What do I think the Pacers have figured out? Stop committing as much turnovers. I think it kind of sounds weird, but it feels like they've mentally slowed down while also still playing that type of speed in what they're doing. I think there's also a lot more screening action and getting each other open more. And then by having success there in the paint, that's allowing them to not throw it away as much as they have. I also feel like OKC's pressure is not what it was there in game one. I look forward to watching this game 3 back coming up here on Thursday to watch more finer details of that, because we're way up. We're up in the balcony, so it's hard to see, follow. I got my binoculars pulled out. I'm trying to track John Halliburton, Caitlin Miles, and other Pacers in the crowd as well. So that I think the thing that stands out from the defensive standpoint, forget the turnovers as well as that was, to me, what it was is what they did defensively and slowing down SGA and making them exhausted and forcing turnovers from their standpoint. That really struck a chord with me tonight in a good way about what the Pacers were able to get done here. Why can't the Pacers put legends courtside like the Knicks do? They do in many respects. There's several courtside. I think let's call it 4 or 5 here tonight. We're courtside, but not all of them. I don't know the specifics on that. You got to remember, a lot of those courtsides are called for. A lot of them are filled with season ticket holders. There might be dignitaries in the building as well. And also, you probably have more people part of the ownership group that want to be here and be in those courtside seats, which means less seats available. How come Jeff Foster never made return Pacer visits? I think he's coming this week. I thought it was going to be tonight. Let's check again on this call after Friday's game. But I thought I was under the understanding that he would be back in Indy for at least one of the games this week. He lives in Austin, Texas, I still believe. And I think he started his own investment fund or something like that, something entailing money and such. And it's been quite successful as far as I know. Shep and Drew's offense was a tad shaky, but thoughts on their defense? I thought they had some good moments. I think the thing that this Pacers team has, again, leaned into is knowing it's not going to just take one guy. They don't have someone at Lou Dort's talent level or Jalen Williams' level defensively to own that point of attack defense. So you throw Nesmith and you throw Nembhard at SGA. Then you go Mathurin. Then you get Shepherd on him and you throw different looks. I thought overall, they did a nice job. I thought it was notable how different this game was called in this one. You had 3 Pacers with 3 personal fouls by halftime. Now, ultimately, that didn't end up becoming a thing other than Neesmith fouling out with 6 fouls. But outside of that, Nembhard was able to play through foul trouble. TJ McConnell did not. But yeah, Aaron Neesmith was the only guilty one there in terms of foul trouble. But that's why you have that depth, and other guys were able to step up there. Labrum tears take a long time to heal. Been there, done that. Painful rehab. There you go. Yeah, he had that surgery in March and was cleared to be 100% ahead of time. I think in August was the timeline on that. 100% they were not rushing. They did a few minutes to extend the lead, Basil said, and ended up with back-to-back. Yeah, I remember writing that down. I think it was early fourth quarter. Maybe it was late in the third quarter. But outside of that, it felt like they had been better composed and handled themselves with the intention of still playing fast and pushing the tempo, but not doing it with poor intentions, if that makes sense. Do Pacers usually use cryo chambers, high-tech recovery things during the playoffs and into the night? They do have certain things. I don't know all the specifics, but I know they have those underground training pools and such. I don't believe they have cryotherapy. They do have red light full body therapy. I do know they have stems. They have those Normatec outfits. So then it's usually it starts with cold tub, hot tub. Usually you want to alternate with that. And then it's really done on an individual basis and what each individual believes they need going into the night. And then obviously coming back the next day, which will now be here later Thursday, for them to get more treatment, more work, more body work, maybe get some massage therapy as well. All right, a couple more, then I'll jump off here. We're already more than 30 minutes into it. I appreciate so many of you joining me here late into the night after the Pacers Game 3 win, 116-107. Shep wasn't great tonight, but not terrible. Yeah, I think that's fair. Luis, I would hope your body heals at night and you rest. I don't know what you're getting at there, Lindy. I assume you're talking about recovery. And yes, you'll spend a lot of it post-game, and that includes lifting weights even to keep your muscles engaged and building strength. But a lot of it will come the next day. The biggest thing I think that most of these players can do is get immediate treatment after the game if needed, but go home and get some good night's sleep and such. How do I think Paul George feels about his former teams in the finals? I don't think he's probably thinking about it a ton, except when people bring it up to him as he counts his money to the bank, right? He just got a 4-year, maybe 5-year max deal from Philadelphia and did not have a great season, did not play well whatsoever. And when his previous team, the Clippers, did not want to give that to him. I mean, this guy's probably made almost $500 million by the time his career's over. So while as much as obviously he'd want to be here as the competitor he is, man, he has had an incredibly successful NBA career. As the 10th pick in 2010, the only player in his draft class still playing. And at age 34, he just got another max deal. So he's doing just fine. Although I'm curious for what's next, because who knows with that 76ers situation. Jincy, you're welcome. Do I think the Pacers can win it in 5? I don't. I think Oklahoma City will win one of the next 2 for certain. I'd be stunned if they didn't. David West never make a return visit. Not that I have seen. He keeps up with them, catches up with them at Summer League in Las Vegas. I believe he's back home in Raleigh, but still follows from afar, still attends some Charlotte Hornet games occasionally, but definitely keeps in touch, especially like with the training staff, maybe with the front office. I know with Rick in that front office, he kept in contact when TJ Warren was here. He's really one of TJ Warren's mentors. I don't know if they've talked in the last couple of years, but I know I have. I saw him at NBA Summer League last year in July, and we had a great talk for about 30 minutes about what he's up to, his coverage and following the Pacers and such. And he's one of them I selfishly would love to see back here as well. I think they'll have even more alums coming up, being a Friday night where individuals can stay the weekend and really be able to enjoy this. It's very difficult for some of these on a Wednesday night, right? Like Darren Collison came from Los Angeles. He's got probably kids in school at this point. So that makes it very difficult. All right, I'm going to wrap it up here. Appreciate everyone joining me here live on my Fieldhouse Files post-game show as the Pacers still have not trailed in the series. They have a 2-1 series lead despite trailing in much of the games, but they take Game 3, 116-107, and got great responses from those that we needed to see it from Tyrese, from the bench in particular. Let's highlight paint points. The fact that they outscored the Thunder in the paint by 2 with the paint points was significant. After last game, did not get those contributions inside the paint in the first quarter. Last game, did not get any points in the paint in that first quarter. So they completely changed the tide there. They had 5 fewer turnovers than the OKC Thunder in here tonight, and nearly by double digits. They never trailed by double digits, won by 9, 116-107. Appreciate everyone joining me here on my live post-game show. Continued coverage of the Pacers and the Fever at fieldhousefiles.com and the Fieldhouse Files podcast. Appreciate everyone jumping on, and I will talk to you all again soon. Have a great night, early morning.